The Edict of Isolation, in the vast expanse of the Galactic Empire, where stars were mere waypoints on the hyperspace maps and civilizations rose and fell like tides on forgotten worlds, there existed a decree so ancient and inviolable that it was etched into the very core of imperial law. It was known as the Edict of Isolation, a proclamation issued eons ago by the High Council of the Zorath Dominion, the ruling body that oversaw 1,000 star systems. The edict was simple, stark, and absolute. No alien may touch Earth Empire, was told. This wasn't a suggestion or a guideline. It was a command backed by the full might of the Empire's fleets, its enforcers, and its arcane technologies. To violate it meant exile, execution, or worse, erasure from the collective. Memory banks of the galaxy, the origins of the edict were shrouded in myth and classified holorocords, accessible only to the highest echelons of the Zorath hierarchy. It dated back to the Great Expansion era, when the Empire, in its youthful arrogance, had sought to catalog and conquer every habitable world within reach. Scouts, probes, and armadas had fanned out like cosmic tendrils, claiming planets rich in resources, subjugating species that bowed easily, and annihilating those that resisted. Earth, a blue-green marble orbiting a modest yellow star in the Orion Arm, had appeared unremarkable at first glance. Its inhabitants, a bipedal species calling themselves humans, were technologically primitive, still bound to their single planet, squabbling over petty borders and resources. But the first contact team, led by Captain Vexler of the Zorath Exploratory Fleet, had returned not with tales of conquest, but with warnings etched in blood and fire. Vexler's ship, the Stellar Vanguard, had descended upon Earth in the year 1947 by human reckoning, cloaked in stealth fields, intending to observe and perhaps initiate subtle integration. What they encountered defied all logic. Humans, despite their rudimentary weapons, propellant-based projectiles, and fission, bombs possessed an inexplicable resilience. Probes were shot down by experimental aircraft. Landing parties vanished into dense forests or urban sprawls, only to be found disassembled, their technology reverse-engineered in makeshift labs. Vexler's final transmission, before his vessel was forced to flee, was a frantic plea. They adapt. They fight without end. Do not touch Earth. The Empire must be told. The High Council, initially dismissive, sent a second fleet. It, too, returned in tatters, harried by human ingenuity that turned satellites into weapons and radio waves into traps. A third attempt, a full invasion force, met with catastrophe. Humans, united under the threat, unleashed horrors, nuclear fire that scarred the skies, guerrilla tactics that turned cities into death traps, and a spirit that refused to yield. From that day forward, the edict was born. Earth was quarantined, its coordinates redacted from public maps, its existence whispered only in cautionary tales. The Empire expanded around it, leaving a void of forbidden zone patrolled by automated sentinels. Aliens of all stripes, the tentacled Quarix traders, the crystalline Samari philosophers, the warlike Crag enforcers, were indoctrinated from birth. Earth was off limits. To land there was to invite doom upon oneself and disgrace upon one's lineage. Millennia passed. The Empire flourished, its capitals gleaming on worlds like Zorath Prime, where spires pierced the clouds and AI overlords managed the minutiae of trillions of lives. But curiosity, that eternal foe of obedience, festered in the shadows. In the underbelly of the Empire, on black market stations and rogue colonies, rumors swirled. Earth wasn't dangerous. It was a treasure trove. Humans had evolved, or so the whispers said, harnessing stars and bending reality. Some claimed they had ascended, leaving their world a relic ripe for plunder. Others spoke of forbidden alliances, of humans infiltrating the Empire in disguise. Enter Lord Kelthar, an ambitious noble from the House of Vortax, a lineage known for its daring exploits and questionable loyalties. Kelthar was no ordinary Zorath. His scales shimmered with bioluminescent implants, his mind augmented by neural links that granted him access to forbidden archives. He had risen through the ranks by exploiting loopholes in imperial law, amassing a private fleet through shadowy deals with pirate guilds. The edict irked him. Why quarantine a single planet when the Empire claimed dominion over all? In his opulent chambers aboard the Eclipse Shadow, a stealth cruiser that could slip past sentinels like a ghost, Kelthar pored over stolen data. The humans are myths, he muttered to his advisor, a sly Quorix named Slith. Primitive apes who got lucky. Our technology has advanced. We can take what we want. Slith's tentacles writhed in unease. The edict, my lord. The Empire was told for a reason. Kelthar's eyes gleamed. Reasons fade. Power endures. He assembled a crew. Elite mercenaries, rogue scientists, and thrill-seekers drawn by promises of wealth. Their target, Earth. Not for conquest, at first just a probe, a landing to extract artifacts, perhaps a human specimen for study. The Eclipse Shadow slipped through the quarantine zone, evading patrols with forged codes. As they approached Sol System, the crew marveled at the silence. No defenses, no warnings. Earth's moon loomed, pockmarked and serene. See, Kelthar boasted. A dead world. But as the ship pierced the atmosphere, alarms blared. Human satellites, ancient yet active, locked on. Intruder alert. A mechanical voice echoed in multiple languages. You are in violation of Terran space. Withdraw or be neutralized. Laughter rippled through the bridge. Neutralized. By what? The ship landed in a remote desert, cloaked and shielded. A team disembarked. Kelthar, Slith, and a squad of armored crag. The air was breathable, the gravity tolerable. They scanned ruins, abandoned cities overgrown with vegetation, relics of a bygone era. Humans abandoned this place, Slith observed, prodding a rusted vehicle. Kelthar grinned. Or they perished. Either way, it's ours. But as night fell, shadows stirred. Distant howls echoed not from beasts but from machines. Eyes glowed in the dark drones, silent and swift. The first crag fell to a sniper's bullet, invisible and precise. Panic ensued. Laser fire lit the night, but the attackers were ghosts, humans, clad in adaptive camouflage, wielding weapons that pierced shields like paper. Retreat. Kelthar screamed, but it was too late. The ground erupted in explosions, traps laid centuries ago. Slith's tentacles were severed by a blade-wielding figure that moved like liquid shadow. Kelthar barely escaped to the ship, engines roaring as missiles streaked skyward. Back in hyperspace, wounded and humbled, he realized the truth. Earth wasn't abandoned. It was a trap. Humans had evolved, hidden, waiting. The edict wasn't a warning, it was a mercy. Yet word spread. Kelthar's failure became legend, fueling more defiance. The Empire stirred, uneasy. The High Council convened, debating reinforcement. But deeper in the void, human agents long infiltrated smiled. The game had begun. The defiance of the stars. The ripple from Kelthar's incursion spread like a supernova shockwave through the Galactic Empire. Whispers turned to debates in the grand halls of Zorth Prime, where holographic projectors displayed star maps with Earth's sector marked in crimson. The High Council, an assembly of elder beings from diverse species Orith, overlords with their regal crests. Simmery crystals pulsing with inner light, and Quorix elders coiling in contemplative poses grappled with the breach. Lord Kelthar's folly proves the edict's wisdom, intoned High Chancellor Illyria, her voice amplified by vocal implants. Humans are not to be trifled with. They guard their world with ferocity unmatched. But dissent brewed. Younger nobles emboldened by Kelthar's survival, though he now languished in exile on a barren asteroid, argued for re-evaluation. Technology has advanced, proclaimed Lady Virasol, a rising star in House Draken. Our shields are impenetrable. Our weapons warp reality. Why fear primitives? The Council archives, unsealed for the first time in centuries, revealed fragments of the original encounters. Holovitz showed human soldiers charging plasma barrages with mere rifles. Scientists cracking encryption in hours, leaders forging alliances from chaos. One record, from the Third Invasion, depicted a human commander, a grizzled figure named General Harlan, standing amid ruins, declaring, "You came from the stars, but you'll leave in ashes. Fascination grew. Rogue factions formed. The Earth Seekers, a cult-believing humans, held the key to immortality. The Plunderers, pirates eyeing mythical treasures. And the Integrators, diplomats advocating contact. Virasol, charismatic and cunning, united them under a banner of enlightened expansion. She commandeered a fleet, the Nova Spear, a dreadnought bristling with quantum cannons. Flanked by cruisers and scouts, the Empire was told lies she broadcast to her followers. Earth is weak, isolated. We will claim it, and with it, supremacy. The fleet jumped to the quarantine edge, bribing sentinels with hacked overrides. As they entered Sol, defenses activated not ancient satellites, but a web of stealth mines and AI-directed lasers. The first cruiser vaporized in a bloom of fire. Evasive maneuvers, Virasol commanded. They pressed on, landing forces on multiple continents. Africa, Asia, the Americas teams beamed down, expecting ruins. Instead, they found thriving ecosystems, hidden bunkers, and cities rebuilt in harmony with nature. Humans had not stagnated. They had transcended. Fusion power lit underground metropolises. Nanotechnology healed wounds instantly. Psychic amplifiers allowed telepathic coordination. The invaders met resistance immediately. In the Sahara, crag warriors charged an outpost, only to sink into quicksand engineered by nanomites. In the Himalayas, Quoric scouts froze in blizzards summoned by weather manipulators. Virasol's personal team targeted what scans showed as a command center in old Europe, a fortress disguised as a mountain. Resistance is futile, she transmitted, her ship hovering above. Surrender and join the Empire. The response crackled back. The Empire was told to stay away. You didn't listen. Ground forces advanced, but humans emerged not in armies, but in precision strikes. Soldiers in exosuits that bent light, wielding railguns that punched through armor. One human, a woman named Captain Arya Voss, led the counterattack. Her blade, infused with plasma, cleaved through Samari crystals. For Earth, she roared, her voice echoing in minds via psionic waves. Battles raged. Aliens teleported reinforcements, but humans jammed signals, turning teleporters into death traps. Orbital strikes were deflected by planetary shields, invisible until activated. Virasol watched in horror as her fleet dwindled. How? They're primitives. But they weren't. Humans had watched the stars, learned from incursions, innovated. They had spies in the Empire, technology stolen and improved. As the Nova Spear listed under torpedo fire from cloaked submarines launched into space, Virasol fled, her ambitions shattered. News of the defeat galvanized the Empire. Riots erupted on colony worlds demanding truth. The High Council imposed martial law, but cracks formed. Humans, it seemed, were not just defenders, they were influencers. Seeding doubt in the shadows. A human envoy named Elias Thorne, disguised as a Zorith merchant, whispered to rebels. The Empire was told. Now, it's time they learn why. The reckoning of empires, the Empire teetered on the brink. Virasol's catastrophe wasn't just a military loss. It was a revelation. Captured data streams from Earth-flooded black markets, images of human society, advanced yet harmonious, free from imperial oppression. Slogans spread. Earth endures, Empire falls. Rebellions ignited on fringe worlds. Species long subjugated, drawing inspiration from the Forbidden Planet. High Chancellor Illyria. Desperate, authorized Operation Veil Lift, a massive armada to eradicate Earth once and for all. No more warnings, she declared. The edict failed. Annihilation succeeds. The fleet assembled, 1,000 ships, from behemoth carriers to nimble fighters, armed with antimatter warheads and reality-warping drives, commanded by Admiral Gorvex, a battle-hardened crag with scars from 100 wars. They jumped to Sol en masse. Earth prepared. For centuries, humans had built in secret. Orbital habitats ringed the planets, disguised as asteroids. Mars and Venus hosted colonies, their atmospheres terraformed. The moon was a fortress, brimming with mass drivers. Global AI, harmony, Coordinated defenses, intruders incoming, all citizens to stations. The battle erupted in the outer system. Alien probes met swarms of drones, self-replicating and adaptive. Gorvex's vanguard shattered against kinetic barriers, ships crumpling like foil. Press forward, he bellowed. They breached to Jupiter's orbit, where human dreadnoughts, uncloaked, the Terra defiant. Soul Guardian, vessels born of stolen tech fused with human innovation. Lasers danced, missiles curved through gravity wells. A Zorith battleship imploded under black hole simulators, human invention that mocked physics. On Earth, ground defenses activated. Cities shimmered under force fields. Civilians donned neural suits linking them to the fight. Elias Thorne, now revealed as Earth's ambassador, broadcast galaxy-wide. The Empire was told, "No alien may touch Earth. You ignored us. Now, witness humanity." Gorvex targeted the planet directly, launching planet crackers. But human hackers infiltrated his systems, turning weapons inward. Ships fired on allies, chaos reigning. In the melee, Captain Arya Voss boarded the Admiral's flagship, her team phasing through holes via quantum tunnels. "You fight like demons," Gorvex growled.